Gaming Bolt presents 15 amazing facts that you may not know about the Doom series. We have a lot to talk about, so without wasting your time, let us begin right away. Name of the series. The name Doom actually comes from a quote spoken by Tom Cruise in the movie The Color of Money. In the film, Cruise is opening up a case holding a pool cue so he can play a game with someone. When asked what was in the case, he answered Doom. Popular brands. The team at ID Software were clearly fans of heavy metal. A number of the songs in Doom feature heavy guitar and plenty of drums, but the musical influence went even deeper. Some of the levels in the game were actually named after popular bands like House of Pain. Name of the main character. The main character of Doom, the square-jawed man who sits at the bottom of the screen and moves his eyebrows up and down, was not given a name until 1995. The name he was eventually given perfectly summed up his entire character in 7 characters. Doom Guy. Level pricing. The brutal shooter was released in a very unique way for 1993. The first set of levels was available to download for free, but the rest of the game cost $40 and players had to mail the money to ID Software in order to receive the files. While an episodic structure is very common today, it was a very different way to buy a game back in the day, which is why it's still remembered today. A mix of Aliens and Evil Dead 2. When Doom was first conceived, it was thought of as a mix of Aliens and Evil Dead 2. The developers wanted the intense action against alien forces of the James Cameron directed film and the gore and brutality of Evil Dead 2. Doom's iconic chainsaw was likely inspired by the brutal acts seen in the classic horror film. Matt Costello. Doom 3 was a departure for the series. It played with atmosphere, lighting, and narrative in a way that the franchise had never seen before. While the gameplay innovations came from the developers themselves, the story was attributed to Matt Costello. He created a dark world in the Mars colony, and this fleshed out narrative even led to the game being storyboarded, which was a first for the series. Beating out Windows 95. In 1995, around the time of Doom's release, the game was running on more computers than Windows 95, the newest operating system from Microsoft. This was a clear sign of its popularity and the important role it would have in the video game industry for years to come. Inspiration behind the demons. One of the most influential parts of Doom is its terrifying monster designs. But the idea for these demonic foes actually came from a surprising source. Some of the developers were playing a game of Dungeons & Dragons and were inspired by some of the creatures they met on their journey. The game's story originally had 5 playable characters. Doom originally had a cast of 5 unique characters, each with their own abilities and storylines, but they were unceremoniously cut from the game when CARMACK said it had too much story. To him, gameplay needed to come first, so the story would just bog the player down. The tale was later published, but we can't help but wonder what Doom would have looked like if CARMACK hadn't cut the narrative. The series soundtrack and heavy metal bands. The soundtrack of the first Doom has become iconic and has become an inspiration for later games, but it was influenced by some of the popular heavy metal bands at the time. Some of these are Metallica, AC/DC, and Slayer. The raging chords of heavy metal perfectly complemented the brutal action of Doom as players gunned down soldiers and chainsaw demons. 15 people. Doom was a technically complex game when it was first released. The detailed levels, solid shooting, and variety of demonic foes were all fantastic, and they were created by a team of only 15 people. A team of this size wasn't unusual for the time, but it did mean that each member had a lot more to do to make sure that the game came together as a whole. Microsoft wanted to buy ID Software. Doom was an instant success for ID Software, so much so that Microsoft wanted to buy the young developer. This was most likely because Doom ran on Windows PCs, so building the series around the operating system would have launched Microsoft's gaming division in a big way, years before the Xbox. Secret behind Dr. Malcolm Bertruger's name. The villain of Doom 3 is Dr. Malcolm Bertruger. Bertruger is the German word for cheater, which was meant to be a subtle call-out by the developers to tell players not to cheat. It's a cool way to send a message to players without beating them over the head with it. Doom 3 and John Carmack. Doom 3 wasn't supposed to be released. ID Software was beginning work on a new project, but John Carmack wasn't happy with the direction it was taking. He told the team that unless Doom 3 was the studio's next project, he would quit. So we have the passion of the series' creator to thank for Doom 3's release. Doom 3 PDA'S. Eagle-eyed players of Doom 3 may have noticed a strange IP address in one of the game's emails. It was meant to look like a futuristic website, but if you remove several numbers, it becomes a modern IP address that can be tinkered with using a reverse DNS to get idsoftware.com, the website of Doom developer ID Software. It's a clever way to give a nod to those that made the terrific horror shooter. And that wraps it up. What are your thoughts about this? Let us know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, please like and share it on Twitter and Facebook. And why not consider subscribing? We upload some really cool videos almost every day. Thank you for watching this video, and happy gaming!